Okay, so let's start with a mesh. I'll add a cylinder, add a loop cut, and in the geometry nodes editor, switch the mode from modifier, well, not the mode, the type. Anyway, same thing, from modifier to tool, which you probably don't see people do that often. Add a new node tree. So the way we're going to approach this is by using the curve length node, which is somewhat of a problem because I don't know if you noticed that, but this is not a curve yet. So let's make it one. Shift A, mesh to curve, which is MTC. I freaking love these alphabetic shortcuts. Okay, mesh to curve, but we don't want to convert the entire thing into a curve. We just want the selected part, which is pretty easy to achieve in the tool mode because it has several extra nodes the regular modifier mode doesn't. Namely, the geometry read selection node. So this just outputs a selection that you currently have in your viewport. So we converted this thing into a curve, and now we need to measure its length, obviously, right? And you can see that the link has broken, so something has to be done about it. Let's give ourselves some room here, and let's convert this value into a string of characters. As the name suggests, you probably guessed it, it's value to string, VTS. Value to string. Let's add several decimal places. Now we need to convert this string of characters into actual geometry. It's a string to curves, I think, right? STC. Yeah, string to curves. Perfect. Next order of business is converting these instances, as you can see here, into actual geometry. So realize instances. And another thing to keep in mind when you're working in tool mode, as opposed to just regular modifier mode, is you can't have your tool work both in mesh mode, in curve mode, or in other geometry types. Okay, so we need to convert this curve, it's still a curve, into a mesh. So fill curve, n-gons is probably fine. Yeah, let's just connect it like this and see how it works. Let's give it a name, measure edges. So we scroll down here, measure edges. Yes, perfect, that's what we need. And you can see that it has become actual geometry and it replaced our original mesh, which is obviously not what we want. So let's Command Z, join this together with our original geometry, just like this. Let's see how it works now. Measure edges. Okay, it's great, but we don't see the entire value because it's obstructed by the original mesh. The text starts from the origin point, which is why we should probably just move it somewhere, right? So let's duplicate our group input and type BB for bounding box. Let's get the size of our geometry like this, vector math subtract, maximum from minimum. This just gives us the object's size, which we can then manipulate like this, multiply it by 1, for example. And let's transform our curve, which is not a curve, it's already a mesh, like this. So just move it by the X size of our original mesh. Anyway, let's give it a try. Measure edges. Yay! Yay, it works. So since it's just a tool, it's not a modifier, the way you get rid of this newly created geometry is you just Control Z out of it. So that's how you build measurements, and you can actually use non-contiguous edges to do that. Again, measure edges. Okay, 4 meters. That does make sense since the cylinder by default is 2 meters long. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 4. It works. You're welcome.